tiny plastic shells found in human testicles, study says. CNN. Human testicles contain microplastics and nanoplastics at levels 3 times higher than animal testes and the human placentas, a new small study found. These plastics are often nanoscale, typically less than half of a micron in length and maybe like 20 to 200 nanometers in weight, said toxicologist Matthew Campen, co-author of the study that published May 15 in the journal Toxicological Sciences. They look like a small shard, tiny broken bits from very, very old plastics, said Campen's regent, professor of pharmaceutical sciences at the University of New Mexico. In such minuscule minuscule particles can invade the individual cells and tissues in major organs, experts say, interrupting cellular process and potentially depositing endocrine disrupting chemicals such as biphenyls, phthalates, flame retardant, per and polyfluoroalkyl substance or PFAs and heavy metals. Endocrine disruptors interfere with the human reproductive system, leading to genital and reproductive malformations as well as female infertility and decline in sperm count, according to the Endocrine Science Society. In fact, sperm count in part of the world, including the United States, have declined by at least 50% over the past 50 years, the society stated on its website. This is an eyes wide open situation right now, Campen said. We've just now realizing how much plastic is in our bodies. We need a surge of research around this topic to confirm or deny a role for microplastics in driving infertility, testicular cancer, and other cancers. Action is desperately needed now. The new study tested 23 preserved testes from cadavers who were ages 16 to 88 at the time of their death, then compared the levels of 12 different types of plastics in those testicles with plastics found in 47 dog testes. The levels of microplastic shelled and the types of plastics in human testes were 3 times greater than those found in dogs, and the dogs are eating off the floor, Campen said. So it really puts in perspective of what we are putting in our own bodies. Polyethylene, one of the most widely used plastics in the world, was the predominant type of polymer in both species, founded by PVC or polyvinyl chloride, another commonly used chemical that can contain chemical addictive and heavy metals, including phthalates, cadmium, and lead. Phthalates, called it everywhere chemicals because they are so common, are added to consumer products to make the plastic more flexible and harder to break. Researchers expected to find more plastic shards in the testicles of the older man in the study, but that wasn't the case, Campen said. It seems that in pink reproductive years of man, for man, which is from 20 to 45, there are higher levels of plastics, which then begin to decline after the age of 55. He said, that suggests the human body can eliminate these plastics. But there is a downside. The finding also suggested that the increased energy needs of the younger testicle may also pull more plastic into that organ to compensate. Add Add to that the fact that the number of plastics we are exposed is to doubling at the rate of every 10 to 15 years, he said. So what's going on? What's going to happen in 15 years when we are exposed to twice the amount, or 30 years when we are exposed to 4 times the amount? That is why action is desperately needed now. The microplastics can range from less than 0.2 inches, 5 millimeters, down to 1 to 25, 1 to 25,000 of an inch. 1 micrometer. Anything smaller is a nanoplastic that must be measured in billions of the meter. The American Chemistry Council Industry Association told CNN in a previous interview that plastics help protect us, improve health care outcomes, and contribute to the more sustainable world. Plastic makers have the goal for all U.S. plastic packaging to be reused, recycled, or recovered by 2040, said Dr. Kimberly Wise-White, the Council's Vice President of Regulatory and Scientific Affairs. More plastic than placentas. Researchers also compared the testis result with the microplastic levels found in the earlier study on 62 human placentas, the organ that provides the oxygen and the nutrient to the developing fetus in the womb. In that February study led by Competent, researchers found microplastics at levels of 6.5 to 790 micrograms per gram grams per gram of tissue in all the placenta samples studied. In testes, the level of plastic was 3 times as much as we saw in placentas, Competent said. But you have to consider that the placenta only has a life of about 8 months. The latest study isn't the first report to find the plastics in reproductive tissue. A team of Beijing-based researchers found microplastics in 6 human testes and 30 semen samples in the June 2023 study. While animal studies have shown tiny plastics can impact sperm count and contribute to hormone and other disruptions in male sexual organs. In studies of pregnant mice, researchers have found plastic chemicals in the brain, heart, liver, kidney, and lungs of the developing fetus 24 hours after the pregnant mother ingested or breathed in plastic particles. Other research have shown that micro and nanoplastics may cause oxidative stress, tissue damage, and inflammation in cells, while animal studies have shown such particles may alter heart rate and impede cardiac function. How to limit the plastic in your life. These are steps one can take to reduce exposure to phthalate and other chemicals in food and food packaging products, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics policy statement on food addictive and children's health. One is to reduce our plastic footprint by using stainless steel and glass containers when possible, said Dr. Leonardo Trasande, Director of Environmental Pediatrics at NYU Langone Health, in a prior interview with CNN. Avoid microwaving food or beverages in plastic, including infant formula and pumped human milk. And don't put plastic in the dishwasher because the heat can cause chemicals to leach out, said Sandee, who is also the lead author for the American Academy of Pediatrics policy statement on food addictive and children's health. Look at the recycling code on the bottom of a product to find the plastic type and avoid the plastics with the recycling code 3, which typically contain phthalates, he added. Cut down on the use of disposable plastics suggests that Natural Resources Defense Council, an environmental advocacy group. Other suggestions include bringing reusable bags to the grocery store, invest cheaper the fabric bag, and ask the dry cleaner to return your clothes in that instead of these thin sheets of plastic. Bring a travel mug to the local coffee store for takeout and silverware to the office, and cut back on plastic cups and utensils.